Hi, I'm Elaine Giselle. I am an educator. I've been teaching in the university for the past 8 years, and I have consistently received high student evaluation scores, averaging 4 plus out of 5. In fact, during my first year of teaching, I have received the most outstanding faculty award under the College of Engineering and Architecture, which was, I would say, a huge motivation to keep improving my craft. But to be honest, I have mixed feelings about student evaluations because I feel like they're not 100% honest, and sometimes I wish they didn't exist because again, not all evaluations are 100% honest, and there will always be few students who give low scores out of grudges and personal biases. But having said that, I also realized that the overall trend of the feedback often highlights what's really working or not working. So, in this video, I'll share what I have learned from years of student evaluations and the specific strategies that I have used to improve my teaching. And so, what I have learned from my student feedback first is patterns matter more than single comments. So, I have learned that while one off negative comments may come from personal bias, repeated feedback signals something real. So, for example, I remember during my first year of teaching, multiple students mentioned that I spoke too fast. So, in the next semester, I consciously slowed my pace and then started adding short pauses to summarize key points. Another recurring comment that I remember is the problems we solved in class were much easier compared to the exams. So, I began incorporating more challenging examples during during discussions, to better prepare them for the exams. And the last one is that some students pointed out that I often call the smart students during oral recitation. And to be honest, I didn't notice this habit until they have commented that. But after reading their feedback, I realized I needed to engage everyone equally. Since then, I've made a conscious effort to include everyone, to include all students, even those who might be quiet or less confident, because everyone deserves to be heard and challenged. Second, students appreciate clarity and organization. So I've noticed that students give higher ratings when they feel the class is structured and easy to follow. So they appreciate when they know what to expect and can prepare for the next topic. So example, I provide clear outlines before each lecture, so they have a sort of a roadmap of what we will cover. So after each discussion, I upload the summarized lecture notes to our shared Google Drive folder. And this way, even students who might have missed a class or had difficulty keeping up can review the materials. I've also started using a simple color coding scheme in my slides to emphasize key terms, formulas, or steps. And I think small details like this make students feel that you've thought about their learning experience and they respond positively to it. The third one would be approachability affects perception. That's a thing that I have learned from the student feedback over the years. And I think students really value teachers they can approach for academic or administrative concerns. But over time, I realized that approachability doesn't mean being available 24/7. And honestly, this is often my lowest rate or lowest score in the evaluation criteria because I strictly separate work time for personal time, and I make it clear from the start that I will not be entertaining queries late at night or outside of work unless it's really something very urgent. And some students misinterpret this as being unapproachable. But I have learned to kind of stand my ground because setting boundaries is really necessary for both productivity and mental health as well. And so what I do instead is ensure scheduled consultation periods where I'm fully available. So students who truly need help appreciate that I give them my full attention during this specific time. I usually schedule that on days that I don't have class. So for example, in a week, I schedule 2 hours on Fridays or 2 hours on Wednesdays for pure consultation time, whatever they need. Lastly is that evaluations keep me accountable. I may not like the pressure of being graded by students, but it kind of pushes me to stay consistent, prepared, and fair. So even bias evaluations make me reflect, is there something that I could have done better? But If I feel that a comment is in bad taste or clearly unfair or not true at all, I kind of just learn to let it go. What I focus on are the trends and constructive remarks. So these evaluations remind me that as teachers, we're always a work in progress. So, what are the strategies that help me improve? And over the years, I kind of discovered this. I kind of improve this as well. So, first is grade consultation and transparency. So, before posting their midterm and final grades, I really conduct grade consultation sessions where students can check the breakdown of their scores and verify results. So, I encourage students to keep their exam papers and results so that if there's ever an issue, we can cross check. And this happened to me once or twice, I think. And where I discovered minor errors in inputting scores. And that experience really taught me to double and triple check before I input their scores. But I'm also human. So having this consultation step keeps me accountable and builds trust with my students. Second is digital organization for students. So I maintain Google Drive and Google Classroom where I upload all lecture notes, references, solve exams, and solutions. And I guess students love this because they don't have to worry about missing a handout or losing track of their notes. And it also shows that I respect their time and effort because everything they just need is, just one click away. So I guess a simple habit has reduced unnecessary questions like, can I get a copy of your lecture notes? Can I get the copy of your references? Can we get a copy of the solution to the exam? Because, everything is already organized and accessible. Third is setting the tone early. So at the start of the semester, I make it clear that my class is really a safe space for questions and mistakes. I always tell my students that you're not expected to know everything. That's why we're here. That's why we're learning. So I guess this mindset encourages them to speak up when they're confused and instead of staying out of fear. So I've seen how this openness leads to better class participations and fewer misunderstandings, especially during exams or activities. The fourth one is being strict yet fair. So I admit I am strict when it comes to deadlines and instructions, but at first students don't like this. But later on, they often comment in their evaluations that they appreciate the discipline because it kind of helps them develop responsibility and character as well. So, for example, during exams, I emphasize following instructions carefully and I do not allow late submissions unless there's a valid reason. So, I guess with proper balance, like firmness but fairness, I guess students see that I'm not being strict just for the sake of it, but to prepare them for the professional world to help build their characters. And lastly is consistency and passion. So I prepare my materials ahead of time. I upload my slides regularly and I genuinely enjoy the learning process and I think really the students can feel that energy and when you love what you do it's contagious. And so students in return can also enjoy the learning process. And that's what I love about teaching, I guess. So yes, that's it. For student evaluations are really far from perfect, but I've just learned to focus on the constructive patterns rather than the biases. So if you're a teacher, I encourage you to build trust, stay consistent and teach with passion because when students see your commitment, positive feedback just naturally follows. So looking back, I believe these evaluations were never just about being a good lecturer. They were the result of creating a positive learning environment, showing students that I genuinely care about their growth and truly enjoying the teaching and the learning process. And just a reminder, getting high ratings is not the goal and should never be. It's simply a byproduct of passion, preparation, and genuine commitment to helping the students learn. So when you focus on those, I guess everything else will follow. So if this video inspired you or gave you ideas, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And thanks for watching. See you on my next video.